Breathes there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself hath said, "This is my own, my native land." Those are words from Sir Walter Scott, and of course he is talking about that beautiful country, Scotland. I'd love you to join me on a literary tour of Scotland from 30th of May to 17th of June in the year 2023. It promises to be a very exciting, very scenic, and of course, a wonderfully literary journey. We will travel in the footsteps of so many fabulous Scottish writers. Robert Louis Stevenson, a great favourite of mine. We will have the privilege of eating our dinner in the home in which he grew up in Edinburgh's Newtown. And just outside the house is that famous lamppost, which gave rise to his marvellous child's poem, The Lamplighter. We visit the Robert Louis Stevenson collection in the Great Writers' Museum in Edinburgh, which of course also features Sir Walter Scott, Robbie Burns, and many others. So there will be Stevenson, there will be Sir Walter Scott with a visit to Abbotsford, and we'll see his grave in Dryborough Abbey and many of the places that inspired his novels. And there'll be the great bard, Robbie Burns. We visit his birthplace in Alloway. We stand on the bridge over which Tam O'Shanter rides in one of the greatest poems of all time. We see so many places connected with the great Robbie Burns. We visit the childhood home of J.M. Barrie, and we see the original Wendy house, which helped to give rise to that house in Peter Pan. We follow in the footsteps of the great Dr. Johnson and James Boswell as they travelled around the Highlands and, of course, went to the Isle of Skye, where they stayed in magnificent Dunvegan Castle. There will be many fabulous castles on this tour: Glamis, Flaws, Eilean Donan, and Dunvegan. There will be some fabulous libraries, including the great National Library of Scotland in Edinburgh, where various manuscripts will be put out for us to have a look at. And it really is a privilege to handle and to look at these very rare documents. I was particularly thrilled last time I went there to see Gavin Maxwell's little drawings of otters on some of the letters that he wrote. And we will be visiting the lighthouse where Gavin Maxwell lived for many years, and hopefully we'll see some otters there as well. We'll see some glorious Scottish scenery with lochs and mountains, banks and braes. We'll travel in the Cairngorms National Park. We'll go on the Jacobite Railway, and we'll see magnificent Georgian streets in the great capital of Edinburgh. There'll be a special dinner at Dumfries House. There could be a bit of whisky sampling along the way, lots of tartan, and we'll be looking closely at many of the truly great writers who have given Scotland such a very rich and magnificent literary tradition, from writers way back in the past to the modern crime writers who, of course, have filled the streets of Edinburgh and Glasgow with plenty of corpses. It is a truly superb country to visit, one of my favourite countries in the world. I do hope you will consider joining me for the Banks and Braes of Literary Scotland in 2023.